So our programming application for this week is gonna be the product finder application, which you'll see in the textbook. And this is basically an application where you have a list box containing a whole bunch of product IDs, and there's a text box where you enter a product ID you're looking for, and you hit a button called find, and if that product ID matches any of the IDs in the list box, then you if that is highlighted, and if not, then there's a message box display that it's not found. So here is a sample snapshot of the application. List box containing a bunch of IDs. You enter an ID which is found, it's highlighted, and if it's not found, then a message box opens up saying it's not found. And here is the whole code for that, for programming the application. So at first, to open up this list box, you have to have the load event where basically it's a main form load event procedure, and while the form is loading up, all the list boxes have to be added right then. And so that's why you have so many of listbox.items.add. Each item is basically product ID. And so after that, once you have the list box loaded up, you initialize the code, or you start writing the code for the find button click event. So after defining several variables like is found, index, number of items, and ID, and these are all variables you'll need later on this code. So index is the index of the list box, number of items, the number of items in the list box. ID is basically assigned to the text box, or the text entered in the text box. So whatever text you enter in the text box, that is listed into the ID string. And then the number of items is equals to the number of items in the list box, and that's the line of code for ID listbox.items.count. And then you have the while loop, which searches for the ID in the list box. So while index is less than the number of items in the list box, and is found is false, meaning that if the ID matches any of the items in the list box, then quit the loop. So until it does not match, it goes on looking at each of the items in the list box. So if your ID is after the while loop is the if statement. So if ID is equals to ID listbox dot items dot index dot to string dot upper. So basically and I missed a line of code. I missed to explain a line of code here, where first, after assigning ID, during the assignment of the ID, you basically want to convert all the text from the text box to uppercase, because every ID in the product ID is uppercase. So you want to make sure that whatever ID the user entered is now converted to uppercase. And once you've done that, so after going to the while loop and the if loop, if selection structure, if the index of the so if the ID in the text box matches the ID in the list box, and here the to upper is to make sure that the list box items are also capitalized, so that there's no error due to case not matching. So if the condition is true, the ID matches some item, then is found is assigned as true, and if not, if the current listbox item does not match the ID, then increment index by 1 and keep on going. So unless it matches, the loop keeps on going till the end. And so after the end of the loop, if is found is true, then the listbox index is selected index is changed to the index current index of the item, and if not, then the index is equals to -1, which is an invalid number. And then you have messagebox.show, which basically shows that pulls up a message box which says that the product finder could not find the application.